Just me, with the thought of you standing by my side, losing the ability to put you aside, reminded of an Everjoy tangled in your whisper. I'm stuck with this feeling. What a glory we were. What a glory we were. What a glory we were. If you're familiar with the concept of evergreen, then you'll not find it hard to conjure up your own definition of what an everjoy is. Something that is always joyful. A sunrise, buying yourself flowers, a Diet Coke. Life? Sometimes. But Everjoy isn't an easy thing to find. It takes a lot of hard work and searching, sometimes so chronically that it hurts. Yet, I like to look inside, peer in all four corners of my brain, to find the parts of me that make me who I am. And that, my friends, is why we are here. Welcome to the hunt for Everjoy, a deep dive into the chaotic mind. Hello? Okay. Yeah, I'll put you on speaker. What did you say your name was?
Why does it matter?
Alright. It's just nice to know who you're talking to, really. Go on then, tell me something.
Okay. Well, I've been sitting on my windowsill a lot recently. Next to these wilted sunflowers, I've had to put in an old metal water bottle because I broke my vase. They were the first flowers I ever bought myself and they're already dying. I quite like to sit there when it rains really heavily so I can listen to the water crash onto the window pane. It feels like I'm sat right in the middle of the storm, but I don't have to get wet. And I get a nice breeze through the small opening the safety lock allows for, which cools me down enough on boiling hot days as well. Days like yesterday, when I spent the whole day waiting for some boy to reply to me. It rained all day, so I stayed in here for most of it. perched by the window, dramatic as ever. I hate wasting days, and yesterday felt like a massive waste. I can't always expect a guy to have already replied to me when it's 8:30 in the morning and I get woken up by that weird anxious feeling you get when you've fully crafted their response in your head and they haven't sent it. But I've become physically incapable of doing anything else. He said he slept in until 1. I mean, it's fair enough considering he left here at 4:30, but even then, if I'm awake, then surely it's only reasonable that he's awake, and then he's just ignoring my message, so I should just...
Right. I'll stop you there. We'll pick that up later. I play the piano a lot. I mean, I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. And this is my keyboard. I would have liked a full-size grand piano, but I don't really think there's room for one of those in here. These sounds pretty fun though. Prime example. Doesn't that sound exactly like a telephone? Fancy. And this is the writer's room. Or the kitchen table. Used for writing. Sitting in. And the occasional phone call. Straight to voicemail. Here, let me tell you something. My relationship with comedy started young. Perfect wit and timing developed at the kitchen table, age 6. Exhausting a regrettably taught joke from my father with the headline act, where I'd finish a soft-boiled egg, flip it over in its cup, and pretend it was a brand new one. He played along most times by cracking into it and revealing no whites, just an empty shell, and I would be hysterical. In later years, I played the same trick with a heavy weight of obvious sarcasm and the laughter dimmed. Just a shared appreciation and simultaneous piss-take of our family egg-related tradition. Until a few nights ago when I made one for myself. And after finishing, I had no one to hand the shell to. Habitually, I flipped it over in its cup, tapped at the top and cracked away the shell to reveal a hollow space. Cleaned out perfectly. As if there was never anything there in the first place. Just an empty shell of shattered past and disappointment. Anyway, more about me. I don't smoke. The fumes make me cough a lot, and with my asthma, the two don't mix well. I once tried to impress a guy by using his vape. Antibiotics and a chest infection for 3 weeks. Quite a rough turn. Mother once told me of the way she used to pretend candy sticks were cigarettes when her friends would smoke or do weed. I laughed, but maybe she had a point. It looks the same, but it doesn't wreck you. The next time someone offered me a vape, I said, "No, I have asthma." But I felt stupid, like I was making an excuse for being scared to try it. Like a child addicted to candy sticks. But recently, when I was drunk, my friend's lime green elf bar interested me. And without complete conscious thought, I inhaled a puff of apple peach smoke and coughed immediately. 5 weeks later, I haven't stopped. Perhaps some things are best learned once and stuck to, like how lime green is my favourite colour at the minute. Lime green, Everjoy. I'm writing something new. It's about family, childhood, and bike rides. You see, not far from me there's a great big mast standing in the distance with 5 red lights. When I was little I used to look at it and think that's where my grandparents live. And as grandparents do, they've gone now, but I still look at it and think that's where they live. How to encapsulate that in writing? Gran and Grandad live where that big spire is. The one with 5 red lights, evenly spaced downwards, standing exactly on the horizon. That's where they live.
Fuck, I'm too used to this feeling now. I obsess and fixate. Maybe they do too, but I never get given enough clarity to stop thinking that they don't. Why am I still waiting for his reply? I've known him 10 days and we've seen each other naked twice. Maybe he feels bad that he said he wanted to wait to have sex, but I said it was okay, obviously. I feel embarrassed that I asked. I like him a lot and I don't want to ruin it, because if this turns out to be another one of someone's ideas of an extended one-night stand, I don't know how easy it'll be to open up with anyone again. 4 times in a month becomes taxing. I think I'm comfortable with him in ways I haven't been with others. He knows how to excite me. It makes me swoon to think about last night. I wish it could still be happening right now and I would never have to leave him and we'd be together all day non-stop. He has a life. I think in usual cases I'd want to take pictures with him all the time and capture this for what it is in case it disappears forever and I have no way to remember it. But I don't feel like that. I don't feel like I need to do that. I just really like him.
You just really like him? Okay. That's alright. I mean, I don't think that feeling ever really changes, unfortunately. Just the other week, I wrote, fuck. Less than 24 hours after reopening Tinder after 3 months and you've already caught that feeling. A guy I don't know, 29 minutes into conversation, is pitting my stomach against me and convincing myself I'm in love. I like his hair. He's funny. He speaks Russian, and seemingly told me that I'm the one for understanding his Donna Noble Doctor Who reference. It's 11 past midnight. I'm up at 7 tomorrow and I'm driving back to uni, but I'd rather see this guy. I'd rather see this absolute stranger. He makes me feel a little bit wanted for the first time in ages, and it makes a difference to be wanted by someone you kind of want in return. I don't know what to do with myself, because this physical stomach pain is useless to me. No wonder I laugh when people describe love with positive connotations. How can it feel happy when I feel like this? And I've only known this guy 2 minutes. I forgot his name a second ago. But I love that this is happening. I love that I'm back in it, back feeling romantic and lively, back being interesting and feeling interested in finding out about someone else, dancing to the rhythm of summer when I could choose when I wanted to be alone instead of all the time. I just wish I'd opened that up sooner, because by this point I would have seen his messy flat, mulleted hair, heard his voice, and would have formulated an overly critical, cynical opinion that would have protectively put my mind at ease. I'd have told him I'm not in the right place mentally and shut everything down yesterday. But now I'll leave it and I'll probably never see him in person. Unless, this time, much to my desperate surprise, it's different. Boys. Not quite an Everjoy. Sunflowers are incomparable. It would be reckless to even attempt likening them to fuchsia, or honeysuckle, or tulip. None are as bold in colour, tall in stature, reliable. A bunch of 6 flowers cost me £4. I like the M&S ones best, knowledge I've gained from experience, as they last a week or 2. A very respectable length of time away from soil. Independent. They brighten a room effortlessly and are big enough to be a standalone showcase. An entire field of sunflowers feels like a dream. Somewhere to get lost in beauty. Enchanting. But no other flower has such a reliance on another entity. They follow the crowd, identical. And when the sun shines, their heads are turned. A fake ideal overshadowed by confidence. Sunflower, Everjoy. Now, despite this glorious search for the always joyous moments in life, I can't ignore the desire to want to sink away for a little bit sometimes. Just drift along a shoreline again. What comes to mind is a glass bottle, enjoyed on a pirate ship hundreds of years ago, until it gets thrown overboard and smashed, rolling along the sea floor. All that time alone to just forget, to enjoy life underwater. Until one day it gets picked up by a child on the beach and adored all over again. Sea glass. Carries me to bright and clear days. This sea glass in my hand tells me of youth, lost in the sand. Kaleidoscope of truth. To look at life through a kaleidoscope. Why don't you tell me something that's just about you? Nothing to do with anyone else. Just you.
Okay. Well, I kind of think I miss being a 6-year-old. So much of me wishes I'd gone to some 90s or early 2000s style all-girls boarding school. I've conditioned myself through endless teen dramas and coming-of-age movies like Wild Child and St. Trinian's that life would have been so much better there. Perhaps growing up with an older sister, I realised from a young age I aligned a bit more with feminine self-expression. Something I know I suppressed during awkward teenage years, but in later years, when my identity is ridden shotgun, I've allowed those to resurface. I rewatched St. Trinian's the other week. I remember seeing it for the first time, I think, with my sister and her friends at a sleepover, where I probably sat at the back and pretended I wasn't enjoying it. One scene in particular where the posh totties are walking around in lingerie always stuck out to me. I retrospectively think I was always jealous of their outfits. 6-year-old me wanted to walk around in public wearing silk underwear and feather nightgowns.
Who was to stop me?
Wild child struck me in a similar light. That I wanted that sort of reckless upbringing where my parents could send me away to boarding school because I was so badly behaved. I always thought I was a naughty child, but I think it was just some sort of unnoticed ADHD in all honesty. Perhaps I've always been slightly envious of my sister in that regard, because while she had the chance of going to an all-girls school, where everyone crushed on the same dashing blonde boy with flowing curly hair, I did not. All-boys boarding school sounded terrifying. I know for a fact that even today, unless I know the boys I'm with, or I sense some sort of LGBT vibe, I find it hard to open up. The rugby types are nice on the eyes, but I imagine not on the emotional development as a child. I think a lot of me feels like less of a man than my male counterparts. Sometimes I dress in a hyper-masculine way to present the idea to society that I'm just as much of a man as other guys, but perhaps I'm not. Not purely just an aesthetic reasons either. My build is small and slim, my hair is different to many, and my voice is still quite high in comparison. When I remember that 2 of my childhood-shaping films are about female boarding schools, part of that feeling, at least, feels slightly explained. Realising I was gay was probably the other part. Perfecting the Emma Roberts twerk in infant school seemed to be my only priority, and in all honesty, I don't know why it still isn't. To be completely honest, I don't know if I'll ever know my relationship to my gender. I resent myself for having prejudices towards myself wanting to experiment in realms towards the female end of the spectrum, potentially because I want to keep myself in a place of security. I know how to be a boy and I don't want to change anything. If only it was as easy as redesigning itself like a Sims character. So, I suppose at least for now, I'll admire Poppy Moore and Annabelle Fretton from afar. But at some point in the future, who knows, perhaps I'll finally be able to call myself a posh totty.
Yeah, I think you will. Thanks for telling me that. It's very therapeutic. Writing can be a very tedious operation. I usually think I have to finish a piece in one sitting due to my chronic impatience. And I hate interruptions. I was in the middle of a piece about my grandparents. On Saturday mornings or bike rides across the farmer's land, I follow the beacon to get to my grandparents' house. Up to the old railway line and through 2 other mining villages before you get there. Beneath tree-lined paths and beside horses grazing on the dew.
Did you read my letter?
What letter?
The letter I wrote for you.
No, I don't know what you mean.
It's next to you, behind that cushion.
How did you know?
I always remember where I put things. Just read it.
If we stop and see the world now through yesterday's eyes, would you look at me the same? Would you want to see me? Or would your warped reality melt me away completely? I'd look for you, I think. I'd look to see if you cared enough to change. I'd use it as an excuse to test you, to see if it was all worth it. Only to find out it wasn't at all. Why did you give me that? What does that mean? Hello? Slice my abdomen and stomach open to remove each worry I have. The words I'm unable to speak without frustration and mumble bumble in a honeycomb of bees. They don't sting or try to hurt me because I house them fairly and tend to each one. But every now and then I'd like them gone. So open me wide and let them out for a while. A quick breather and relaxation for me, and a chance for them to stretch their wings and work up a bit of energy. Perhaps gather new pollen for the hive and see the world for a bit. I'll feel calmer. Yet on their return, they gather back in and start to whir even more. Honey climbs my throat and exits my mouth, simply sweet and healthy. A partial extraction of woe, with the producer still hard at work inside. I don't really like going out that much. You just kind of have to at this age. Pay your way into some grimy nightclub and get something spilled all over you for the price of that. If I am drinking though, the rule is usually as follows. I'll have one, become extremely sad and poetic, or I'll have so many that I can't remember anything I've done the next day. Except that I've definitely done something I should be embarrassed about. Can you turn it up a bit? I do absolutely see it as a chance to demolish the dance floor though. I need a different mood for us to be this size. Okay, but I will never let go of the amount of times I've been asked if I'm a professional dancer, really just throwing myself around the room. It's definitely a bit of a temporary night out kisses though.
It's a bit much, don't you think?
There's always someone like that. Glasses on the table, stacked endlessly with drink stains and foam walls from martinis and beer, pictures of cocktail poured from a cart. We pay £11 for that. Full stomachs, smoky lungs, clattering cups and smiles, the laughs and secrets captured on iPhone cameras last forever. Instagram stories flooded with locations. Let's hope others are jealous they aren't here. How crazy we make it feel. But I look at these glasses and stare. Who put mouth to rim, who left when and where. And as conversations unfold without my involvement, like most occasions, I listen to each and wonder, which had influence first? Bent straws tainted with saliva, stale beer on the floor, a cigarette butt that makes me cough. So long lost, but lingering. And yet you're here. You stand intoxicated, me not, for once. And you laugh. You smile. You joke. You sing. I stare. In awe. And yet we're stood distant. Like a martini and beer glass. Both ready for the dishwasher. Neither fitting. Reminders of a drink once enjoyed. After all the dramatics, I walk home. My shadow walks me home, trudging his feet with each step like an exhausted child. He makes no expressions or attempts at murmurs, just keeping me company with his elongated figure. A friendly companion I can rely on when the streetlights are lit. I take the night out alone. Solo and friendless after everyone else has gone home, leaving me dancing by myself on the sticky dance floor. 2 a.m. sees the faces I made acquaintance with stir home in the pre-sunrise, and I walk back as I always do, up the hill and away from it all once again. My head spins as it hits the bed and I miss those faces I just met. They were hilariously fun. A Spanish girl sends me into a spout of lies, explaining that my granddad is Spanish on the paternal side, even though he only speaks fluent as an English speaker. My bond with this hilarious person sends us into hysterics. We have entire conversations in Irish and Scottish accents. In many ways, I think this is why I'm best off by myself, doing the things I want when I want to. When my friends left me at 11 o'clock, I considered leaving too, but why should I? When I want to stay and dance, as I should. I make my own way on that sticky floor, and I don't let time stop me. I'll own that space as long as I can, because I love the night out. Everjoy. Lost. Sounds like an interesting one.
I came out when I was 17, after I'd been in the shower. I was very overwhelmed. I almost fainted in there. In fact, I think I did. I remember being on the floor and my knee hurt, and it was too hot. But for some reason, I'd woken up that morning with something digging into my chest. My head had decided that today was the day I say, I'm gay. I always had in my mind that I was never going to do that. I'd turn up at the door some years down the line with a boyfriend on my arm and say to my parents, this guy's mine, we're a couple. And then they'd know that things don't always go to plan. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I didn't have to pretend I was anything other than myself. And my family didn't have to pretend that they didn't know either. Age 3, my mother says. Apparently asking for Polly Pocket play sets as a child is a giveaway. I'll do it now. It's hard to think back about my younger self sometimes though. The 13-year-old desperately trying to fit in. Fits in now. When he wants to. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Something about you I don't I miss you in part. Tell me why I'm asking myself if I'm ready to move on, or if I'll ever be the person I was before. It's hard to imagine a time or place where I found where I belong. So until that comes, I'll rely on you more and more. Something about you, I don't know what, always brings me back to the start. Not sure why I hold on to that, but it's true, I miss you in part. It's nice to know I meant so much to you, that you took the time to notice me. So I step away and I don't look back, and without me there, maybe you'll see. Yeah, without me there, maybe you'll see. I got you these sunflowers because I keep thinking about the line from a poem by Annie Freud about there being millions of flowers and only one of you. But to me, you disappear with the rest of them, so here's a reminder of that. Hello? Yeah, I just can't believe I got through to you. I know. No, how, I wanted to ask how you got out. Yeah, I don't know where I am. Okay. I'll see you soon. Bye. The third street light from the left just turned itself on and off again. Small amber bulb inside flickers with the shyness of someone scared to speak. And on again. Unable to make up its mind, it flits between sulphur yellow beams and complete darkness. Off again. I think we're reaching the end of our time here together. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, I've got a few things to say, if that's alright. But I think you might have already heard them.
Sure. Whenever you're ready.
Learning how to trust myself is a new lesson I'm teaching.
I can't stage a trust fall after 6 rounds of icebreakers this time, yet I'm sure there will be plenty of arms there to catch. So I imagine a law court instead. A series of several jurors sitting in a curve on high benches peer down at my quivering knees. I swear to tell the whole truth. But how can the truth really be told to yourself the first time when you've already and they've already experienced it live in real time? Figuring out the truth at the same time as all the parts of yourself figure it out means that honesty is rewired, and my trust becomes harder. The jury shout different connotations at me when any suggestion is given. One votes hostile, one votes futile, one votes volatile, and one votes worthwhile. But to them all I hold an unbound respect that, despite mess, I appreciate their sentiments. If only I could destroy them all and trust my own judgment.
I will still be here.
When everyone else has left and deserted the air around me, I'll still be breathing if all else fails. I'll carry on.
Tell me a story from yesterday.
Today I woke up with a new mind and forgot every other mentality I've had in recent weeks. But I'd like to know how I got here and how I'm able to understand why I'm not the same as I was the day before. It's only recent that every day I feel out of date. The best before catches up with me at the end of every word I speak because my constant change means I never agree with myself.
I want to drift away from here so often.
That wings echo from my shoulder blades. They carry me to eternal peacefulness where cosmic waves soundtrack silence for hours and movement is free. I don't know if I'd return once I got there. Perhaps my wings would break on arrival and I'd never fly back. I know who you are.
Really?
Yes. I wrote all of these.
You did?
You're me.
What a glory we were.
You know what? Sometimes things are so confusing that not even words can begin to explain them. There's only one thing you can do. Dance. I'm a very percussive person. My feet never stop moving. When I was little, I remember being forced into a pair of these and sent off to a dance studio. So thank God for that. Who knows where all that energy would have gone? Especially as a child like me. So, after my tap shoes are on, I'll get this wicked thing out. Flip it around. And you're off. Dance. Everjoy. I finished writing. Gran and Grandad live where that big spire is. The one with 5 red lights evenly spaced down it, standing exactly on the horizon. That's where they live. On Saturday mornings or bike rides across the farmer's land, I follow the beacon to get to my grandparents' house. Up to the old railway line and through 2 of the mining villages before you get there. Beneath tree-lined paths, and beside horses grazing on the dew. Before long, bike tyres start to exhaust, and Granny's hug is calling with a glass of Ribena and squares of chocolate from my granddad's fridge. The fireplace is on. Yet from the window in my little overnight bedroom, I can see the mast with 5 red lights still standing in the distance, no closer than at home. On one bike ride with my friends, I'm told they plan to reach the Burnt Hope transmitter station. They want to walk right up to it and touch it. This hideously large visual blight in the middle of the countryside, used only for old television and radio. But a lack of planning and clear direction on their end, and the destination was never met by anyone. Until last November, when both my grandparents had left the house standing vacant, and I'm driving on the motorway back from Cumbria. 5 individual red lights stand out against the dark sky and the spires in full view. That's where Gran and Grandad live, I think. Directly on the horizon. How long would it take me to drive to that spot? Find its exact location on a map, walk through heavily overgrown woodland to reach it, up to the old railway line and through 2 of the mining villages before you get there, and find them both sitting in cushioned green armchairs, rocking steadily. I'd find that unreachable point and see them again, the light keeping me in tow as I drive. Grandparents, Everjoy. I'll see you soon. the world to me that, I mean, this performance sold out. It's all aside, that's never happened before. This project has taken about a year, ever since I first started writing poetry, and it's just really grown from there. I want to thank my mum. And my dad in the tech booth. Most importantly, all of you, because I write for a reason, and it's, you know, always inspired by people I meet and everything that I do. So it means the world that you came to watch it. See you next year.
I think we two got one of these.